Hello guys and welcome back, this time to our first Ashlands Valheim news video, because we've just been informed of the next update and their approach, but it does leave me wondering already what happened to the ocean biome update, which was originally planned to come before the Ashlands and the Great North. And with us waist deep in the Mistlands, I'm already excited for the next update. And perhaps I'm a little skeptical too after the recent nerfs to the Mistlands, which in my opinion should have embraced the added difficulty and challenge to the biome. Now I want to see a progression and the need to prepare ourselves before heading out into our next adventure, and the nerfs have kind of ruined that for me, but it's still a fantastic update. That being said, I'm sure the Ashlands will punish any would-be unprepared adventurer, as we've already received information about some of the new creatures and various other additions, which we'll be talking about shortly. But first I wanted to say how happy I am to hear that the devs are taking a much more open approach to the update. We'll be able to get solid information about what will be coming, though I quite like the little teasers that they offered for the Mistlands and also for Hearth and Home. And I very much hope that they do continue to release little teasers for us and then follow up maybe the following week with all the information about the update. But we will have to wait and see to see if they go down that route. They mention how they hope to be more transparent through this approach, and they hope that we will have a better understanding as to how far the development has come for the game. And I can't help but feel this is actually the team trying to fend off the horde of players that continuously complain about the lack of development in their eyes leading up to the release of the Mistlands. Regardless, let's not worry too much about that because the team are doing a fantastic job. Let's take a look at what we know they're working on currently. So firstly, we have two new enemy types. We have the Charred, which is a new band of molten skeletons that wander the land of the dead, the Ashland wastes. And we can see three potential enemies among these. We have one wielding a longsword, we have a dual-wielding skeleton with multiple schools, and what looks like a magic-wielding skeleton. Now, having more enemies that deal magic damage and have magical attacks is definitely a nice change, as we will have to be more careful in our initial probing attacks. Now, I can also see these being weak against ice attacks, such as using the Frostner or even the Staff of Frost, but that's just a guess. Something that I can see them adding though, given that most of the enemies have some kind of critical weak spot or something they're weak against. Now, whether the Morgan will be weak to ice attacks is another thing. This beast seems pretty terrifying, but doesn't seem inspired by any creature that I've come across in Nordic folklore. So you can expect me to keep an eye out for more information on this. Speaking of which, if you're interested in keeping up to date with the Valheim Ashlands news or are looking forward to Sons of the Forest, another survival crafting game which is releasing next month, then do make sure to subscribe, as I'll be covering both games over the next few months. And of course, if you do know any history of the Morgan or its inspiration, any creatures you could associate it from folklore, then please do let me know in the comments below, because it's something I am genuinely very interested in. Now, whilst we wait for more news on the Ashlands, or the realm of the dead, so to speak, we've also been given a heads up of some other new content, including the Xbox release, which is coming early this year, which will come with crossplay for our console-bound friends, so they'll be able to join us. This does make me wonder, though, if console players will be able to get their own dedicated servers and play from there. Speaking of which, if you are looking for a Valheim dedicated server, do check out low.ms. We're partnered with them and have used them for our dedicated servers. If you use the link to the website below in the description and use the code Totalxclipse at checkout, you will get 20% off your first month. So what are you waiting for? And along with the console release, we'll also be receiving some new difficulty settings. A welcome addition, given they've nerfed the Mistlands so hard. And no, I'm not bitter at all. Along with this, they are also working on Hilda's quest, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, which does sound very intriguing and may bring some new gameplay elements, although I'm reluctant to speculate too much given that we only know that Hilda will be coming with it. And if we look into the Nordic folklore, I'm presuming Hilda, which is actually spelt without the second I, was a Valkyrie, and she had the ability to raise the dead to continue the never-ending battle in Valhalla. So given that, perhaps we may have some kind of Colosseum-style arena where we fight waves of enemies until we end up dying. I could, of course, be totally mistaken, but there's no harm in guessing, I guess, based on that. We'll also have a way of changing our character's hair and receive some new clothes. Now, to be honest, I'm not too sure as to why they're offering new clothes if it's not armor. They do look nice, but whenever I'm playing with friends, we tend to wear the best armor that we have available, unless there are some particular perks to wearing a particular item. Perhaps, I guess, the lighter fabric will offer us faster stamina regeneration, which would actually be really useful for non-combat activities such as building or, I don't know, mining. And I am also glad that following on from this, they've clarified that we'll be receiving this as just a little addition outside of the main content, which allows them to make the most of the team that they have available. Whether they're able to work on Ashlands or not, they'll still be doing something towards the game's release. And finally, they are also trying to make Valheim more accessible to those with disabilities or any other factor that affects their ability to play the game. And they are inviting those who are affected by this to get in touch via email so that they can make the game more accessible to those. So do get in touch with them if that applies to you and you want to make the gaming experience more accessible for everyone. But that is all, other than these cool builds that they showed off at the end of the post. But we are going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to all of our amazing supporters, most notably our Solar Eclipse patrons, James Irwin, Fireflesh, Trebor, and Beowulf, as well as our Lunars, the Calamity, Ben, Star, Shoku the MN Wolf, and that dude AW, as well as our Blood Moon of the day, which today is the Blind Teacher. Until next time, as always, ciao for now.